Cool. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
You're good.
Wonderful. Okay, so bubble sort and insertion sort. They both are pretty inefficient, and generally you should avoid using them. I put some memes in here.
Yay.
So bubble sort iterates through an array and it compares neighboring numbers and it'll swap them to put the larger number in, or the smaller number in front of the larger number. Like I said, it's not very efficient, especially if you have a really long array. It'll take forever. So here's an example. The first pass, it'll go through and check 5 and 2. It'll swap them. Then it will check 2 and 1, or 1 and 5, and it'll swap them. And then it'll check 5 and 8. Those are going to stay the same. And then it'll check 8 and 7 and swap them. And then it'll have to go through it again and swap 1 and 2. And then it has to go through a third time without any swaps for it to know that it's sorted. Insertion sort is also pretty inefficient. It's slightly less inefficient as bubble sort, but it still has the same big O notation. So here's an example. The easiest way for me to visualize it is to imagine like a hand of cards and how you would sort a hand of cards. So you would like check the first number and put it in its spot. The next number, you would put it wherever it goes between the first two or whatever. So in this example, you would put the 5 in front of the 8, and then the 7 between the 5 and the 8, 1 in front of the 5, and so on until they're all sorted. And I tried to find interview questions that actually pertain to both of these sorting algorithms, and there really weren't any that I could find aside from what is it. So knowing that they exist and knowing how they work is important, but also they're not useful or practical to use like in a real life situation. And Thursday, I think, is when the rest of these will be covered. So the merge sort and quick sort are like generally going to be the ones that you want to use. And then here's the code pen. I'll put it in Slack too. Okay. I tried really hard to find like more to say about both of these, and there's just really not a whole lot. So
Wait, what was the difference between bubble and insertion? They kind of looked the same.
yeah, they're not like super different. Basically, the way that bubble sort works is it just looks at each number and then the next one, the one that's next to it. So let me go back to the slide. So if you're doing bubble sort with this, it's just going to look at the 5 and the 2 and swap them if the 2 is greater than, or the 5 is greater than the 2. So it'll just swap them to put the smaller number before the larger number. And then it's going to look at the next two numbers. So it'll look at the 5 and the 1, and it'll swap them because 1 is smaller than 5. And then it's going to look at the 5 and the 8, and it'll leave them alone because they're in the right, they're already in order. And then it'll look at the 8 and the 7 and swap them. And then it has to go back to the beginning and do that all over again. And then insertion sort is pretty similar, but instead of just swapping them, it's actually going to move it in the sorted part of the array to where it belongs. So like,
Yeah.
So it's like slightly more useful in that way, but still not that efficient.
So I guess we would do a loop for
So I think I should set that to true initially. Well, I'm kind of confused about like the inner loop and the outer loop, I think.
I think maybe instead of a for loop, you want on your outer loop, you want something like a while loop.
Right, that's kind of what I was thinking. I think I had it like reversed in my head. So Will that work?
I don't know. Because, well, no. Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
So, and then out outside of the for loop. I want to set this to false. Do I need to call these? I had a really hard time getting any of these CodePen things to work.
I don't think you need to call them because there's another thing, like there's another file that is already calling them, I believe, as long as you're not like renaming them. I think what might be happening is that like your for loop isn't like that would only give you one iteration through, like that would only move one value, I think. But no, because your while loop should, huh? I think what's wrong is that, well, no, never mind. I think that's what's wrong is that your for loop is finishing and then swap happened is immediately being set to false. So your while loop is only executing for that first for loop, I think.
My internet just went out.
That's unfortunate.
Okay. I think it's not. I think this is being called in the wrong spot, but I don't know where to. I guess I could just, I don't know if I should call that inside here.
Do you also need a placeholder? Because with when you assign array of I to I plus 1, the next step when you assign I plus 1 to I will already be
right.
equal to I plus 1.
And I think where you want your swap happened equals false to be is right under your while loop.
That's where I had it, and I didn't know if that was.
I mean, like the initialization of the while loop, like before you get to your for loop. Because once a
Right.
swap has happened, then that's
Yeah.
what we care about.
Right. Okay.
Do you want it to be so that if I think your if statement is off because you've got like the I, like you've got array, and then in brackets you've got all that stuff. Okay, now it's doing it, but it's the wrong way. So you need to flip your sign.
Wait, what?
So it's sorting them, but it's like 13, 12, 8, 7, 6, 3, but it needs to be the other way.
I think it's the if statement. I think if array I plus 1 is less than.
Yeah, you're right. Cool.
She's frozen forever.
Alanna.
Well, she did say her internet went out. I was surprised how long
That's true.
it took to freeze.
Was anybody typing along? No.
No. I was just debugging. We could start on the next one while we wait. So that we can kind of get an idea of what we would need to do.
Sounds good.
Would sure help if I was unmuted. So this loops through each element. Pull this up so we see when Alanna comes back. Cool. Loops through each element. Store the current item value so it can be placed correctly in the sorted portion of the array. Sure sounds like we need a holder. Then we're looping backward through the sorted portion of the array. Scoot everything over until you find the right place to insert the value you're working with. That's fun. Did she link her notes, by the way? Her slides?
I can. I'm back.
Oh, you're back. Great. Cool. Went ahead and just kind of built this real simple thing. I'll throw it in Slack for you, and we'll stop sharing.
Okay. Oh, let me. There are my. There's my slide.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Just like barely started, so.
Yeah. So. Cool. Holder. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to like catch up here. Okay, so are we making a, like, are we putting like everything that we're sorting into a new array, or are we sorting them within the same array?
I think I was going to go to the notes for that. So that's why I was curious if you had put them up, because I wasn't sure.
Let's see.
I like that now there's a trend of everyone adding memes to their slide.
Well, I had to do something to fill up my slides because it's going to be like 4 slides.
It's great.
Also, there's a lot of memes about bubble sort. I think that it's not making a new array. I think it's just manipulating the original array. So I think we would have a second loop, and we would check to see if the for each, when we go through the for each loop, we'll check that holder and see if it's less than anything that we've already sorted, and then put it before that one. I don't know.
I think that would make sense.
Are we gonna go backwards?
Well, that's what it says, but it says in the sorted portion of the array. But
Oh,
but I don't know, like, what that means.
Seems like you're just moving values around in the array, and you kind of like pick a side that you want to be unsorted and pick another side which you want to be sorted,
Right.
and then you just kind of work from that assumption.
So So well, I don't know. I'm just gonna go backwards and see what happens. Is it shift to move something into a specific spot in an array?
I think you'd want to use splice because shift will put it in front.
Oh, okay. I always
But
forget.
splice is a weird syntax with it. So like you want the index that you want to insert it at, and if you wanted to replace a element after that, which in this case you won't want to actually take out anything, so you'd
Right.
just leave that as 0.
So
If it's so the first argument of it is it's the index where you want to place it, and then if you want to take anything out, which you don't, so that's 0, and then what you want to actually, yeah.
okay. And then I want to remove, well, wouldn't I want to delete wherever, because this is just going to make a copy of that value, right?
Yeah, so you'd want, so as you're getting each element, you would want to remove it from the array.
Like up here?
Yeah.
And then
So what you can do inside of your for each up above, you can do element comma index and then wrap that in parentheses, and that'll give you an index.
oh yeah, okay. Is it, which one is it to remove?
It's my pop.
Is it pop will take the last item.
I actually, since you're always, well,
I think I can use splice again.
You can do splice and then just not replace with anything.
Right. So
So shift removes the first element of the array. So I guess if we're going that way, we can remove from the front.
but we're
Huh?
but we're like ordering them as we go, so we don't want to remove the first one if it's already in the spot it's supposed to be in.
Okay, so we're ordering from the left then.
I think so. Because it's iterating, for the for each loop, it's iterating from the beginning to the end, and then the for loop inside of that is going from the other direction.
Okay.
I don't know why. That's just what it says. But I think this is right to remove it. I'm pretty sure. So then I guess there wouldn't be a third condition.
So why would there be a second condition though?
Because if it's less than, then we want to put it in front of it. Right? Or
Because
actually,
that's like what your for loop is kind of accomplishing for you, but it'll make sure it's being put into the correct place.
but if it's
It's like it's less than, then it just moves on and does another loop.
right. But then if it was already the smallest number, then wouldn't I want some conditional, like if it's smaller than every single other number in the array, then it just goes to the front.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily need to have the array.splice. I can just say, what is it? Unshift. Which one puts it at the front of the array?
I think unshift will. Sounds like shift takes it out, right, Crystal? That's what you just looked up.
I looked up shift, not unshift.
Oh.
But shift takes it out.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, then
On the
unshift.
front.
Yeah.
Then unshift will put it in.
And it's just like that, right? Is that the right syntax?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it?
That won't work either, though. No, I'm thinking about it because so like it's going to it's going to look at an item, but if the holder is greater than, then it's going to put it in, but then otherwise it's immediately going to put it at the front. For like, it's like, yeah, you got it.
Right. So
You almost need like an if statement.
What was that?
You almost need like an if statement. Like if you've gone through the whole thing, then
Right. But I was kind of thinking like if I equals 1 and holder is less than. Will that work?
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It might have to be I0 though, if I equal 0, since that would be the very first.
Right.
Then that's
Yeah.
I think that's right. Huh.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Nope. I'm so confused why it returned that.
I'm more just confused about what that even is.
Yeah. Can I console log something in here?
Yeah, I think you should be able to. I think even if you just console logged whatever array it's giving you, that would be useful.
Well, it didn't give me anything.
Can you type in the console?
Like just call the function?
Yeah, I guess call the function and put the array in there. I don't know if it'll work, but
Oops. It didn't return anything.
that's lame.
Yeah.
think you'll have to console log, like wrap a console log around that. Maybe.
Nope.
Cool. Can you send it in Slack? And I can just throw it in VS Code real fast.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't format it correctly.
So I tried it with that same array 2417, and it came back with 24777.
I think I want to no. I think I want to return after because I think it's just gonna keep adding it whenever it finds one that it's greater than. I don't know.
That gave me the same result.
Like it gets rid of the one completely.
That's weird. what if instead of having I equal, instead of it going backwards, should it start at the index of whatever the element is?
I'm not sure.
I'm starting to remember how much I hate this problem because I remember doing this last time, and I'm doing like I was trying a different strategy, and I feel like I've done changed it 20 different ways in syntax, and it just I'm getting some variable lost and it's not working. Yeah, it's not working.
I think some of the problem, at least, is that inner for loop.
Yeah, I think so too. Trying to run it in VS Code and see.
Okay.
Oh. So so the splice here doesn't look like it's doing anything. Because when I console log the array after that splice, it's still in there. Oh, wait. It's already in the right spot. Maybe that's why. Well, no. Okay. Yeah, so this isn't doing anything. This isn't getting rid of the that element in the array.
Yeah, I think it'd be okay to take it out.
I feel like that should work. I'm confused. What if... Well... Oh. Wait. Do I just need that?
Well.
Okay, so now it's removing it. So we solved that problem. And then
What is the 2?
okay, yeah, so this is the holder.
Okay.
And then this is the array after we remove the holder.
Okay.
And then this is the output when it's going through the for loop. So since 2 is greater than, well, actually, I don't know why I put it there. Because it should have put it after the 1.
Right. But then it mysteriously like disappears again. Like it's getting picked up again in line like in your for each loop. So it's getting sliced there.
Yeah.
But then also not getting put back in. It's super weird.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
I did look it up online if we've got if we feel like we've reached a place where we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, I'm willing to just see a solution online.
Yeah, I hit a wall on mine because I was trying to do the for loop with a while loop, just rotating down, and then when it hit switch, but just I kept hitting snag after snag until I was confused at what any variable actually held anymore.
It's also like so different than what we were doing that I like. And I'm also not sure I entirely get how that works.
Yeah. I don't understand why they define length at the beginning. Like, why can't they just do,
Yeah.
Um,
I do kind of get what they're doing with the while loop though, because
Right.
I think that's a big problem we were running into, is that like that for loop would finish iterating, but we definitely were not, like, by the time that error for loop would have finished iterating, we wouldn't have had a sorted array no matter what,
Right.
even if we got the splice part to work.
Yeah.
It's interesting that like Crystals has that same, like, getting the length first before anything. Like, I really want to know.
I don't think it really does anything. I just replaced it in the for loop with array.length, and it's the same thing.
Okay.
It doesn't really do anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hmm.
And in their case, like, they're using key as a holder. It
Right.
looks like.
I still don't really understand how this one works without, like, I don't understand how it's replacing the each element in the array without, I don't know how to phrase it. Like, it's not like adding extra items in, and it's not removing ones that you still need.
Right.
And I guess, yeah, yeah. I guess they're using J as like a index holder kind of, and then using that.
Yeah. It's still. I guess with how they're doing it, if you run into something that's sorted, you're not really doing anything with it, so you just move on to the next index after that.
Right.
Like, you're still taking it out, but you're putting it back in the same place if it's already where it's supposed to be.
Right.
It's definitely like a different concept though, because it's not like, hey, you have a sorted side and an unsorted side. It seems like
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that was throwing me off.
I wonder if it works in the code pen. It probably doesn't.
Mm. Let's see. It does. Well, that was a headache. Thanks for helping me try and figure that one out, guys.
Yes.
Um,
Tried.
We did. We tried.
Yeah, that one's a real pain.
Well, the good thing is that you most likely won't be asked to write out code for either of these.
Yay.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording.